Good morning. So I had just run my Magnum XL 70 four-stroke engine, and now I've mounted my ASP 80 four-stroke engine. Now, these two engines are sister engines, basically, built in the same factory, same country. Technically, they should be the same, although I have noticed some subtle differences between the two engines that I think are noteworthy. One is the ASP has a crankcase vent, a traditional crankcase vent down here at the bottom, like most Surpass engines do, whereas the Magnum does not. It has a vent that spans from the camshaft to the intake manifold. I don't know why that difference is there, but it is. Another big difference, in my opinion, is the carburetor. The carburetor on the Magnum engine does not have a throttle stop screw, and that's one of the reasons why I was having such a hard time getting the throttle, the idle set, because if you accidentally went too far and closed it, it's going to die, obviously. I like the fact that the ASP engine has a throttle stop screw, so when I'm running it on the bench, I can set it and just push it all the way forward, and I know my engine isn't going to die because I've got the throttle closed too far. The other subtle difference is the valve covers are different shapes. I know the Magnum comes usually with a blue paint on it, which doesn't last very long, but it's got a different shape to where the rockers are also. Some subtle differences, but seem to add up a little bit here. So I'm going to run this engine, probably the 6th tank I've run through this engine. Same prop, APC 13.6 I just had on my Magnum, and we'll see how much easier, or if this thing is any easier to hand start, and how it performs compared to what the numbers were that I just recorded on my Magnum. Okay, so as I've said before, this engine really continues to impress me for a Chinese-made four-stroke engine. It was a very fast hand starter. It primed extremely easily as opposed to the Magnum, where I really had to flip and flip it and flip it, and it may have been because I needed to change that hose out. I don't know. I don't think there's an air leak on the intake manifold on the Magnum because it didn't operate like there was a leak. But taking a prime on it was a lot more difficult than this one. This one starts up right away, idles down as low as I had the Magnum, and it sounds much better doing it. Transition is excellent. The only knock I have on this engine right now is, if you noticed, at high speed, initially it was tacking out at like 10, 9.9 something, and the last few clicks on the, when it was at that range, one click almost resulted in 1,000 RPM difference. So the only knock I've got on this particular engine, this particular carburetor, and I don't know if it's just this carb or not, is those last few clicks, you can go from 8,800 to one click to like 10,000. So it's kind of, and it's weird, and it's not like it's loose in here, although most times I do have a piece of fuel tubing over that, and I don't have that on either this nor the Magnum engine. Maybe I should do that, but as far as the last setting where it was running at 88, 89, 100 RPM, that's probably where I would leave it if I were to fly this engine, and I'll give it some time, or give it some margin to unload in the air. It's a really nice running engine, and for a Chinese made or an ASP/Magnum engine, this is actually an impressive engine, and I'm planning on keeping this one. The Magnum, I don't know about that engine. I don't really particularly care for it. The things I noted earlier about differences, I think could contribute to why it acts differently, but this engine really impresses me.